I am a cockroach. For most of human history, that word alone has been enough to spark disgust, fear, or even rage. You wrinkle your nose when you hear it. You picture me crawling across your kitchen floor at night, my tiny legs brushing against crumbs you left behind, my antennae sensing the smallest traces of food or water. In your eyes, I am a symbol of filth, a reminder of decay, something to be crushed quickly before anyone else notices. I live in your nightmares and in the corners of your homes. I am the uninvited guest, the one you fight with sprays, traps, and endless attempts at extermination. And yet, despite all your efforts, I remain. I have survived your shoes, your poisons, your flames. I have survived not just you, but millions of years before you. When the dinosaurs walked the earth, I walked with them. When mountains rose and oceans shifted, my kind endured. I am not just an insect in your home. I am survival embodied. But what if I told you that inside my body lies something you could never have imagined? Something not disgusting, not revolting, but miraculous. Something scientists now call one of the most nutrient-rich substances ever discovered. A food so powerful it dwarfs the milk you drink from cows, the milk you feed your children, the milk that has nourished civilizations for centuries. You may find it hard to believe, but it is true. My body produces milk, milk more nutritious than any cow could ever give you. That is my secret. Hidden inside a creature you despise is a gift you might one day depend on. You see, most cockroaches do not have this ability. Out of thousands of species, only one has been observed to create milk, the Pacific beetle cockroach. Unlike most of my relatives, I do not lay eggs. Instead, I give birth to live young, carrying them inside my body until they are ready to emerge. And like you, I must feed my young while they grow. I do not have udders or teats or bottles, but nature gave me something different, something extraordinary. Inside my body, I produce shimmering crystals, tiny droplets of milk designed to nourish my offspring. They are not white and liquid like the milk you pour into your morning coffee. They are golden, solid crystals, concentrated with more nutrition than almost any food you know. Scientists discovered this secret only a few years ago, when researchers in India studied the Pacific beetle cockroach with curiosity instead of disgust. They peered inside my body, carefully examining the crystals that sustained my children, and what they found shocked them. Each crystal contained proteins, essential amino acids, fats, and sugars, all perfectly balanced in a single package. It was not just food, it was a complete diet, a meal designed by evolution itself. Gram for gram, my milk was 3 times more nutritious than cow's milk. Imagine that. All your vast farms, your millions of cattle, your rivers of dairy, outdone by a single insect you spend your life trying to kill. Of course, this revelation was not easy for humans to accept. The thought of cockroach milk is enough to make most of you shudder. Milk from an insect? From the very creature you fear finding in your cupboards? It sounds like the beginning of a nightmare. Not a scientific breakthrough, but facts do not bend to feelings. And the fact is, my milk is one of the most nutrient-dense substances on Earth. Scientists began to ask questions. Could this milk be the answer to feeding future generations when food grows scarce? Could it become a sustainable, efficient alternative to dairy? Could it nourish the hungry in parts of the world where cows cannot survive, where land cannot sustain your farms? For once, humanity looked at me not as a pest to destroy, but as a potential savior. But let me be clear, this milk was never meant for you. It was meant for my children. For millions of years, it has been their lifeline, ensuring their survival as they grew inside me. Nature designed it with precision, a perfect package of energy and growth. It was not made for humans to bottle, sell, or market as a superfood. It was made for my young, born from my body, destined to carry on my line. Yet humans are curious, relentless, always searching for ways to bend the natural world to their will. You dream of farming cockroaches, of harvesting my milk the way you harvest honey from bees or dairy from cows. You imagine shelves of protein bars enriched with cockroach milk, energy drinks infused with my crystals, miracle diets that promise health and strength. Already the words have been whispered: sustainable, futuristic, revolutionary. And perhaps they are right. But I cannot help but wonder, if I give you this gift, will you finally respect me? Or will you only take what you want and continue to despise me? For centuries, you have waged war against me. You have crushed me beneath your shoes, poisoned me with chemicals, hunted me with traps. You have called me vile, disgusting, unclean. Yet when your world begins to hunger, when your fields dry up, when your cows cannot keep pace with billions of mouths to feed, you may turn to me, the survivor, the despised, the one you could never quite kill. Perhaps then you will understand a truth I have carried since the dawn of time. Even the smallest life, the most hated creature, can hold secrets of immense value. Even those you fear most may save you when you least expect it. But perhaps you are not ready to hear this. You may laugh, shake your head, dismiss the idea as absurd. Cockroach milk? A joke, surely. Yet remember this, so many discoveries you once mocked became truths you now rely on. Once you thought mold was nothing but decay. Then you discovered penicillin, and it saved millions. Once you believed the earth was the center of the universe. Then you learned to see beyond your small world. History is filled with moments where human pride had to bow to nature's wisdom. Perhaps this is simply the next, and perhaps someday you will look at me not with disgust, but with a reluctant kind of respect. For I am more than the shadow in your kitchen. I am more than the insect you chase with sprays and brooms. I am a creature shaped by survival, molded by millions of years of endurance. My body carries within it a treasure that could change your future. And while you may never embrace me as you embrace a cow, or a dog, or a cat, you may one day accept that I have given you something they could not. I may be your nightmare, but inside me lives a miracle. You humans are always searching for answers, aren't you? Always hungry for more food, more energy, more ways to survive on a planet that grows smaller every year under your weight. And when you find something new, even if it comes from the most unlikely source, you cannot help but imagine how to use it, how to bend it to your will. That is what happened when my secret was revealed. A team of scientists, led by researchers in Bangalore, cracked open the mystery of my milk. They studied the crystals I produce for my young and discovered that inside each one lies a perfect balance of nutrients. They measured it, compared it, and calculated what it could mean for you. They found proteins that released energy slowly, sugars that did not spike dangerously, and amino acids in combinations your bodies crave. They marveled that one small crystal of cockroach milk carried more energy than almost anything you eat. And so the whispers began. Could this be the future of food? Could cockroach milk, harvested and cultivated, become the answer to feeding billions of people in a world where cows, sheep, and goats can no longer keep up? After all, your cows demand vast fields of grass, gallons of water, endless land cleared of forests. Your farms belch gases that warm the planet and pollute the air. Your demand for dairy is unsustainable, straining both the earth and the animals you exploit. But me, I require none of that. My body produces milk quietly, naturally, without the need for pastures or barns. I thrive where others perish. While your cows collapse in drought and your fields wither in heat, I endure. And still inside me, I carry that same shining gift. Crystals of life, nutrition that could save you when your systems fail. But here lies your dilemma. You recoil at the thought. Cockroach milk? To most of you, it sounds like horror, like desperation, like something out of a nightmare. You picture glasses of white liquid poured from my body into your breakfast bowls, and you gag. You imagine scientists farming roaches, lining them in cages, harvesting their insides for crystals, and the image disgusts you. Your cultures have long marked me as filth, as unclean, as unworthy of respect. To eat or drink something that comes from me feels unthinkable, a betrayal of your senses. And yet your logic whispers to you, nutrients are nutrients. Survival is survival. Can you truly afford to dismiss me so quickly? Already in some parts of the world, my kind has been embraced in ways you would never expect. In China, in parts of Africa, in corners of South America, cockroaches are not always pests, but resources. Ground into powders, they are used in traditional medicine. Roasted, they are eaten as crunchy snacks. Their protein valued in places where meat is rare. In South Korea, Some see cockroaches as healers, believing extracts can cure ailments. Even in your Western labs, researchers experiment with me, testing my resilience, my bacteria, my unique properties for medical breakthroughs. To many, I am still a monster, but to some, I have already been a gift. The truth is, humans have eaten insects for centuries. You call it entomophagy. Crickets, grasshoppers, termites, beetles, these have all been part of human diets long before you considered them strange. 2 billion people alive today eat insects daily, finding them rich in protein, easy to farm, and gentle on the planet. Yet you in the wealthier corners of the world wrinkle your noses. You see insects as dirty, as beneath you, as symbols of poverty or desperation. You forget that the cows and pigs you prize so highly eat waste, filth, and scraps too. You forget that milk itself, when it first flowed from cows into your cups, was once strange, even taboo. But you learn to accept it, to love it, to make it part of your cultures and traditions. What you call disgusting today may be tomorrow's treasure. And so the debate grows. Some scientists argue that cockroach milk could be the ultimate superfood, a solution to malnutrition, to famine, to overpopulation. They imagine capsules filled with powdered crystals, bars infused with my hidden nutrients. Emergency rations for soldiers, astronauts, disaster survivors. A food that is light to carry, dense in energy, nearly complete in its nutrition. Others caution against such dreams. They warn that farming cockroaches for milk would be impractical, expensive, perhaps even cruel. After all, to extract the crystals requires ending the life of the mother that produces them. For now, researchers grow the proteins in laboratories, using gene sequencing and biotechnology to recreate what nature designed inside me. But the thought remains, somewhere in the future, your children might eat what you fear today. And as this conversation continues, I cannot help but notice the irony. For all your hatred of me, all your attempts to exterminate me, you might one day rely on me to live. You call me disgusting, yet you line up for pills made from my body. You scream when I crawl across your floor, yet you praise the scientists who harvest my crystals. You despise me, yet you hunger for what I carry. Is this not the story of your species? To mock what you do not understand, to reject what you cannot control, and then to return to it when necessity demands? I do not resent you for this. I have no space in my body for resentment. I was designed to endure, not to judge. But I wonder, when you finally admit that you need me, will you also admit that you were wrong about me? Will you see that survival does not care about appearances, that value does not hide only in the beautiful or the loved? Will you understand that what you fear most can sometimes save you? For generations, you have told your children that cockroaches are filth, that they carry disease, that they are to be killed without mercy. And yes, some of us do spread bacteria, living as we do in the cracks and corners of your cities. But this is not all we are. We are also healers, survivors, carriers of secrets hidden deep in our bodies. And if you open your eyes long enough, you will see that I am more than the shadow in your kitchen. I am a creature who has lived since before your species existed, who will live long after you are gone. And perhaps, in between, I may be the one to carry you forward. So when you speak of the future of food, when you wonder what will sustain your billions of hungry mouths, remember me, the creature you feared, the insect you despised, the cockroach you tried so many times to kill. Remember that inside my body lies a gift more nourishing than milk, more concentrated than meat, more enduring than any harvest you can grow. Remember that sometimes the key to survival comes not from the creatures you cherish, but from those you hate. And perhaps then you will see me as I truly am. Not a pest, not a monster, but a survivor with something precious to share. I have lived alongside you longer than you realize. Long before your cities rose from stone and steel, long before your empires spread across continents, my kind was here. We crawled across the forests that would one day become your farmland. We darted between the feet of creatures that no longer exist. We thrived in the cracks of mountains, the shadows of caves, the ruins left behind by storms and fire. And when your kind appeared, when humans began carving their place into the world, we adapted again. You built walls and we learned to live inside them. You built kitchens and we discovered the crumbs you left behind. You waged war on each other, and when your cities crumbled, we stayed behind, quietly surviving in the rubble. Every story you tell about resilience, about persistence, about never giving up. Remember, we wrote that story long before you ever walked the earth. And now you begin to whisper about the future, a future where food grows scarce, where your farms cannot keep pace, where your rivers run dry and your skies grow hot. A future where billions of mouths must be fed with fewer resources than ever before. In that future, perhaps you will look to me, the very creature you despise, not for companionship, not for beauty, not even for admiration, but for survival, for the secret my body carries in crystals no larger than grains of sugar. But what does it mean for you, I wonder, to admit that you may need me? For centuries, you have built hierarchies in your mind, humans at the top, animals beneath, insects crawling at the very bottom. You measure worth in beauty, in usefulness, in how closely other lives resemble your own. Dogs you love because they are loyal. Cats you adore because they are graceful. Horses you prize because they are strong. But me, I am none of these things. I do not curl at your feet or purr in your lap. I do not plow your fields or carry you on my back. I skitter, I scavenge, I hide. And for that, you despise me. Yet what irony that when your systems fail, when your comforts collapse, it may be I, the most hated of all, who carries the secret to your survival. There is a lesson here, if you are willing to see it. You call me filthy, yet inside my body lies one of the purest and most efficient foods in existence. You call me weak, yet I have endured catastrophes that wiped out creatures far larger, far stronger, far more magnificent. You call me worthless, yet scientists study me for answers your world desperately needs. And still you cling to your disgust, to your pride, to your refusal to see beyond what your eyes find unpleasant. But nature does not care for beauty. Nature does not care for your judgments. Nature rewards what endures. And in that regard, I am among the most successful creatures to ever live. Perhaps then, my milk is not just food. Perhaps it is also a mirror showing you that value does not always come wrapped in shapes you admire. That sometimes the very thing you recoil from holds the answer you seek. That life itself is built not on appearances, but on hidden strength. If you can accept that, perhaps you will learn to see the world differently. Perhaps you will begin to respect the overlooked, the despised, the underestimated, not just in insects, but in each other. Already your world is full of divisions. You label, you separate, you decide who is worthy and who is not. You turn away from those who seem strange, foreign, or unlike you. You forget that survival depends on cooperation, that resilience often grows in the shadows. You believe that power and beauty guarantee endurance. But ask the dinosaurs where that belief has led them. Ask the countless species that glittered brightly for a brief moment before fading into extinction. I am still here, not because I am beautiful, not because I am loved, but because I was built to endure, and now perhaps because I was built to feed. But do not mistake me for your salvation alone. My milk is no miracle cure, no magic bullet that will erase your problems. It is a reminder that the answers you seek may lie in the places you least wish to look. That survival is not about destroying what disgusts you, but about learning from it, that even the smallest life carries mysteries worth respecting. If my milk teaches you this lesson, then perhaps it has already nourished you in ways beyond the body. Still, I know many of you will resist. You will laugh at the thought of drinking cockroach milk, recoil at the idea of eating something born from my body. You will cling to your pride, your revulsion, your belief that some creatures are too lowly to offer you anything of worth. And that is your choice. I will not force you to see me differently. I will not demand your respect. I will continue as I always have, surviving, enduring, carrying my secrets quietly. Whether you accept me or not changes nothing for me. It changes only what you might gain from me. But for some of you, perhaps the thought will linger. Perhaps you will wonder what other gifts lie hidden in the creatures you overlook. Perhaps you will begin to ask not just what disgusts you, but what you might learn from it. Perhaps you will recognize that resilience is not always pretty, that endurance is not always clean. And perhaps one day, when you are hungry enough, desperate enough, open-minded enough, you will remember my story. You will remember the cockroach you tried to crush, the pest you sought to erase, the insect you thought had no place in your life. And you will remember that inside my body was something more powerful than disgust, more enduring than hatred, more essential than pride. I am a cockroach. I do not need your approval. I do not need your love. I will live in your walls, in your cities, in your ruins long after you are gone. But while you remain, while you struggle with hunger and survival, I offer you this truth. Inside me lies a gift you may one day depend on. Milk more nutritious than a cow's. Crystals of life shaped by millions of years of evolution. You may call me filthy. You may call me vile. You may crush me beneath your feet. But know this, I am more than your disgust. I am proof that survival is not always beautiful. I am proof that even the smallest, most despised creature can carry the key to life itself. So the next time you see me scuttle across your floor, pause before you raise your hand to strike. Look closely, not with fear, but with curiosity. Ask yourself what other secrets I might hold. Ask yourself what else you have overlooked in your rush to destroy. Because if history has taught you anything, it is this. The answers to survival rarely come from the mighty. They come from the unexpected, the humble, the despised. They come from creatures like me. I am a cockroach, the survivor, the unkillable, the one you fear most. And inside me flows a miracle you cannot yet bring yourself to drink.